Riddler is asking for you.
The killer left this for the Batman. Why is he writing to you?
You came. I've been trying to reach you.
At what point did you first get the opportunity to get involved in producing a Batman movie? Was it something you knew immediately that you wanted to do?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, everybody wants to produce a Batman movie. Did I ever think I was going to be lucky enough to produce a Batman movie? No. I had the good fortune of making a couple movies with Matt Reeves, and we got on really well. So when Warner Brothers came to him, he then in turn said, hey, do you want to do this with me? So it's Matt Reeves.
So it was during the post-production, actually, of War for the Planet of the Apes that Matt started to talk to me about the possibility of that he was going to, be making a Batman movie, and just said that he had Alfred in mind for me. So I was thrilled when we began to talk about it, and then I was lucky enough to sort of witness over the years of him writing the story and him sort of formulating what his take on Alfred was going to be. He was sort of kept me informed. So there was never a sort of a cold read situation where I was just turning the pages of a script and going, oh, this is amazing, because I knew, given Matt and given the fact that he's such a, he would have always had a great take on every character in this movie. I was going to be up for it to work with him again.
With so many films and iterations of Batman and kind of in existence, how did you want this to kind of stand apart from everything that's come before and be its own thing?
Your duty as a filmmaker is to give the audience something they haven't seen before. 80 years of Batman is a challenge, but Matt found a way in that was unique with, a year two Batman who hadn't quite perfected being Batman yet, and that extreme kind of vigilante vengeance was something that I think the audience really responds to, and seeing that arc and him transform into something more, that felt like a different new way in. And that detective story that he used as that plot, that was also something that was special and unique.
What he's done, I think, is chosen a very interesting place to sort of drop anchor and land. And that is year two, which is a kind of not fully formed version of Batman, who is pushing against, Bruce is pushing against everything that the Wayne legacy stands for, and therefore Alfred, because Alfred represents that, and as a dutiful, security guard to the Wayne family, and of course carries the survivor guilt of not being there for him in his hour of need when his father is assassinated, his family are assassinated. So what I think Matt's done very cleverly is create a Gotham that speaks to the now, is very, very in touch with the post-truth world that we find ourselves in, the corrupt world that we find ourselves in, and where do you turn? What belief system do you adhere to? The kind of, it's like everyone's falling through the net in this film, and that is and yet it still manages to have its mythic sort of power. The Gotham that he's created, both visually and kind of mentally and metaphorically, I think is one that has that scale and scope as a place, but that still feels tangible.
Were there things that you actively wanted to kind of avoid doing as well? Like, we don't see the kind of origin story at the beginning, or Thomas Wayne being cut.
I think it's that. I think we know the origins of this character. I think we want to hint at it along the way because it's emotional. It's what drives this character. Robert has said in the press that every fight that he has, it's almost like he's fighting the murderers of his parents. So we know that origin is intact in the character, but you want to take this character on a different emotional journey. This one was about his family legacy. What he thought was true may not be true. Matt wanted to rock this guy to his core. And that was our story.
I mean, obviously, Alfred's been played by some great actors over the years. I mean, and there's
lots people keep reminding me.
And another one now. And there's lots of source material too with all the comic books. I mean, was there anything within all of that informed what you were doing, or did you really want to come at it from a fresh perspective and something with you and Matt?
I mean, obviously, I've been full of admiration for Michael Caine and Jeremy Irons and Michael Goff and all, and actually going back to Michael Napier back in the early days, which is the TV series that I grew up watching. You know, so, but you do, I couldn't go there. I just had to kind of go, well, this is what we're doing, and, you know, try and think of him as if no one's ever played him before, and you know, try and reinterpret him in a fresh way. That was the only way you can do it. I mean, that is the only way you can do it, I think.
I wanted to ask about the Nirvana song, Something in the Way, because that plays quite a big part. It's almost like a motif in the movie.
Yeah.
I understand that had some sort of influence on shaping the kind of Bruce Wayne that we were going to see in this movie. Is that right?
I think Matt felt like this Bruce Wayne was a little bit of a Kurt Cobain-like character, in that he was so obsessed in the thing that he was doing, much like Kurt was obsessed with his music, that he just sort of let things kind of, everything else didn't matter. You know, this is not the playboy Bruce Wayne. This is a Bruce Wayne that's obsessed with, you know, going out there and you know, trying to right the wrongs inside of Gotham, and letting the things, you know, around him sort of decay and fall apart. Matt, as a writer, he likes to write to some music, and as he started to picture this Bruce Wayne as Kurt Cobain, started to listen to some Nirvana, and that song is undeniably great, and it just felt right to him. So he wrote that into the script from very early on, and it stayed there.
Obviously, this is kind of a standalone movie in a sense that it's not particularly sort of tied into the rest of the wider DC Universe stuff. That said, I mean, has there been any kind of talk about a sequel, something to follow up directly to this, and is it something you'd be interested in doing more?
Look, I'm sure that the ambition would be for there to be, you know, now that we're establishing a Batman and you know, and this world, I think. I would hope that it would continue, and sure, you know, I would love to be part of it, because I do think it's, as I say, you know, it's what is great about this subject matter and these stories is that you're able to, you know, in these universes you get to talk about really important things, but in a fairy tale, and so the metaphor of it is such a help in our times, I think. Yeah, and so yeah, I think it would be great if there were more, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're really focused on this one movie, making sure this works for the audience. The hope, of course, is that the audience loves it, and you know, we're rewarded and blessed to do another one. Robert is a great Batman. You know, Zoe is an amazing Selena Kyle. She becomes Catwoman at the end of this. Oz is, you know, at the end of it, you know, he's not yet the Kingpin. He's a mid-level gangster. You know, Andy Serkis, I think, is a great Alfred that we'd want to explore some more stuff with. So the hope is that the audience says, you guys did a good enough job with this one that we want more from you.
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's through violence you may find
justice. The answer's justice.
Come on, vengeance. Let's get into some trouble.